Right, good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Starting up with a new chapter today, unit number 13, the world of light. Biosphere, a biology lesson we are going to start up where we learn about the organisms. Right? So, hope everyone got the view. So, please get prepared to listen now. Right. So, this mind map is already given on your view. This shows you the topics that you are going to learn in this chapter. Whatever the topics are there, those topics, what you're gonna learn in as a mind map it is given. So I have already told you the importance of a mind mapping. Before you learn about lesson, what are the topics you are going to learn, you will have time. Once you are done with that also, you can revise accordingly. Okay. So how do you want to go? Basically, we speak about two topics here. First topic is the normal one, that is classification. So about classification and binomial nomenclature, two topics we are going to discuss in this chapter. What are the two topics? Classification and binomial nomenclature. So under classification, you see two types of classification we have. What are the two types? Artificial classification and natural classification. Under the natural classification, new words are there you have to learn in this chapter. Taxonomic levels. Actually, there are 8 taxonomic levels we have to learn. Depending on the taxonomic levels concerning all those things, we divide all organisms into 3 domains. So, what is this domain? What are the interactions? All we learn. So, 3 domains are there. All new terms for you. Most of the parts. So, see there here. Domain archaea, domain bacteria, domain eukarya. So, and then kingdom bacteria, kingdom cyanobacteria, there are some other kingdoms as well. Okay. So, all these are the classification of organisms. Okay. How do we classify the organisms? How to group them? That is what we are going to learn. And what are the factors we know? What are the factors we base on in order to classify them? These things are what we are going to learn. Right. So, look at it now. The very first thing that we are learning here is the word biosphere. So can you tell me what is called biosphere? Now already learned about this word. What is called biosphere? Biosphere is right? What is biosphere? Biosphere refers to wherever life exists on Earth. Wherever life exists on Earth, wherever you can find life on Earth, this entire space is what we term as biosphere. Okay. So you are learning about the biological world where living, non-living things exist, and between them there are interactions. Those things are what we will learn in this chapter. Some of the basic ideas you have already got in grade 9. Can you remember the biodiversity lesson you learned about? Under that biodiversity, some of the importance of this biosphere you have learned. So, what is this biosphere? Once again, wherever life exists on Earth, wherever you can find the living things. So, on Earth, you can find the living things on terrestrial land. That means the land environment. Okay. Terrestrial environment means the land environment. So this area we term it as the lithosphere. What sphere it is? Lithosphere. Okay. And then there is a water world. Okay. That means most of the parts on the earth have been covered with water. Different types of water are there. So this is called the hydrological, area. So we term it as hydrosphere. So one is lithosphere and the other one is hydrosphere, and the living things exist in air as well. So what we say, atmosphere. So 3 spheres we are taking. What are the 3 spheres here? Lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and all 3 collectively when you take, this is what we term as the summation. Together it is called biosphere. So biosphere is the summation of all these 3 spheres. What are the 3 spheres once again? Lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere. Simply, wherever the region on Earth where the life exists, wherever you can find the life, that is included, that is added to the term biosphere. Okay. So in this biosphere, different types of organisms are there. Basically, the organisms as plants, animals, and microorganisms. Human being is one of the animals. This is the idea you do have now. So you learned about the plants separately, animals separately, microorganisms separately, step by step. You learn up to now. Now, when you come for plants, different types, varieties of plants are there. Animals also the same. Different types of animals are. We have one. Okay. And where do we have the position in this animal world? We have to learn. And what type of microorganisms? So all these organisms, whatever the organisms are found so far up to now, that means from the early history, from the day where the life has been originated on earth, from that day onwards until now, whatever the organisms have been found, all the organisms are classified under basket. Okay. So this classification, how it is classified, what are the figures, that is what we are going to learn in this chapter. And moreover, when you come for the origin of Earth, it is believed that about 4.5 billion years ago, how many years ago? Okay, 4.5 billion years ago, Earth has been originated. Earth is formed up. Earth and the atmospheric, that means like including the sun, moon, all these things have been formed about 4.5 billion years ago. How many billion? 4.5. Okay. And life on Earth, living things on Earth, it is started about 3.5 or 3.6 billion years back. Okay, you understand the point? From now onwards, 4.5 billion years back, only the Earth has been formed up. Billion means 90 rather. Okay. So 3.5 or 3.6 billion years ago, the life is started on Earth. That means 4.5 to 3.5, almost about 1.0 billion. So that means 1 billion years have been passed on Earth without any living things, according to the traces. Okay. So with no living being, with no life on Earth, Earth has been just getting prepared. Okay, or else changing its nature, its structure in order to build up some other characteristics, just like the life. So throughout that 1 billion year time, it was just a planet with no organisms, according to these theories. So 3.5 billion years ago, the Earth has started up like. So this theory I have learned in grade 10. Okay. So the theory which speaks about the origin of Earth and other planets. What is the theory? Can you remember? What is the theory speaks about? The origin of Earth, Sun, Moon, and all other planets. What is the theory? Can you remember? Grade 9 you should have done. What is the theory? Big Bang theory. What Bang theory? Big Bang theory. Before Big Bang theory, there is another theory. So some of the theories I'm just reminding you. Okay, that is not needed here. So nebula theory was the first theory. After that, Big Bang theory. Big Bang theory says okay, all the orbit, all the planets and subplanets have been formed because of an explosion. The giant sun exploded. And continuously with this Big Bang theory, another theory is there that we learn, which is taken as an evidence for the starting of, for the origin of life on Earth. What is that theory? Bio? What is the theory? Now, not spontaneous theory, special creation theory, cosmological theory, all theories have been, not accepted with science. Only one theory is there that can be according to science. What is that? Biochemical evolution theory. What is the theory? Biochemical evolution theory. According to that theory, the first cell was named as a pre-cell. What cell it is called? Pre-cell. Pre-cell. Pre-cell was the first cell. What is the cell? Pre-cell. 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 From that pre-cell only, step by step, organisms have been formed. Okay. According to the lineage. Okay. So one after the other, different types of organisms have been formed, and today we have got millions of organisms, millions of species, not by number million. Okay. It is not by number million, type. Millions of species, millions of types of organisms are there, lived and living on Earth, right? Lived, because why do we say lived? Some of them have been extincted totally, like the mammoths, dinosaurs, different varieties of dinosaurs are there. So all these have been extincted from Earth according to the traces. So living, more than millions of organism species are there so far. So is it easy to learn all of them at once? No. So that what we do here, we are going to group them. We are going to Group them. So grouping them into several groups, we are going to learn them as a group one by one by one. So we don't want to learn everyone alone, individually. Okay. All in certain groups you are going to take, and what is the classification we are going to learn in grade 8? It is not the 100% complete classification as within our limit we are going to learn. You understand that point? Fine. So now, what is this classification? So classification means simply we say grouping. But how do we group them? We group them based on some common characteristics. Based on some common characteristics, based on some common features, common properties, we are going to group them. We are going to categorize them into certain levels. So there are some importance in this aspect. So they are the classification importance. What are the importance? Let's say for example, so I do have thousands of pebbles. Let's say I'm having 1,000 pebbles. 1,000 pebbles are there. Okay. Different size, different colors, different shapes are there. Okay. So if you want to explain them one by 1,000 times, you have to explain 1,000 times. You have to explain. But what if you have to group them into some containers? According to the color you are grouping, according to the shape, according to the size, and finalize grouping of it. So after grouping, let's say you got only 10, 15 groups, then do you want to explain 1,000 times? No, right? You have to explain how many times? 15 times. Why? All those 1,000 people you have grouped into just 15 boxes, 15 containers. So in one container, how many pebbles are there? All of them should be following the same characteristic. Why? Concerning one common characteristic, only how grouped it. Maybe the color, size, shape, all which is common one container. So accordingly, you see now, all thousands of pebbles you have grouped into 10 or 15 groups on. Then let's say another 1,000 same like pebbles are there. What are you supposed to do? Again, that the second 1,000 pebbles also you are going to add them into the 15 containers. Let's say none of them are matching, so the 16 container you are there. So likewise, you see, once you group this, thereafter whatever you find, whatever you are added up with, it is easy for you to group them. How do you group? Comparing the characteristics of that particular pebble and the group contain. So you have to see who will be suitable with matching up. You have to just apply. Okay. So you see like this. Because of this classification, because of the classification of organisms, since all the organisms have been classified according to a scientific method, okay, millions of organisms have been divided into several groups. So we can have an idea about all the organisms when we are learning this grouping system, the classification system. So we don't want to learn millions of groups, only few groups are there. And more, let's say, now this has been done hundreds of years back. So during the hundreds of years, still there have been some other organisms found during the past 100 years because 100 years back, let's say for example, 100 years back, all special was found. After that, 100 years passed away. So during this 100 years time, still there should have been some organisms found, right? Now what if those organisms into the same categories that they have been added? Just like the second 1,000 people, you have added different things. Okay. So likewise, you see, even after that, if there are any organisms being found, what are we supposed to do? We have to compare that particular organism's feature with our containers, with our groups, and which group it is most appropriately matching up with, we have to group it on. Let's say none of the groups it is matching up with, so it should be having a different unique characteristic. So accordingly, we have to find out some other solutions. Okay. Or else, let's say now, for an example, 15 containers you got, right? 15 containers you got. So I'm asking, I'm pointing out one particular container and I'm asking what are the features of the balls, the pebbles inside that container. What are you supposed to do? Do you want to take all the pebbles out and see? All right, because you know how you classify it. So looking at that particular container, you can say what sort of features they have. What is the size? What is the shape? What is the color? Everything you can see. Likewise, once the grouping is done, when you take one particular group will you take, just looking at the name, according to your knowledge, you can say these are the types of organisms involved in this. Right? Already you learn group and their characteristics. So group to characteristic to group, you can match them. So this is one important. These are some importance of learning classification. And more, when you are classifying the organisms, then you know which period, which era these organisms were formed. What is their usual lifespan? From which organism to which organism it is evolved? Because evolution speaks about from one organism to another organism will be completely converted. Right? Something like the man came from the monkeys, we say. Okay, like that. Okay. So likewise, you see that evolutionary relationship we can build up. Some of the organisms are morphologically same like organisms are there. The physical features, external appearances are same. So accordingly, we can build up some relationships. So these importances are also there. And when we are grouping the organisms, we find out what are the special characteristics of some organisms. And these special characteristics will be highlighted in the nation, highlighted in the state, we can find out. So we can give them an economical group. Likewise, we say economical organisms are there, economical plants are there. Economically higher plants are there, which are very expensive by their stem and all. Okay, some fruits, some vegetables, very much hard to find. Okay, and also we are finding out like a unique organisms will be there in certain countries. Our country also we do have some unique organisms. So these organisms, once when we find out they appear, they exist in our country, that would be highlighted in other countries. What they do, they buy them sometimes. Okay, they buy them in order to start the growing up in their country. So we do have an economical value over there. So likewise, these are two importances of learning classification. You understand that? Okay. So accordingly, let's write there over biosphere. We are writing on the dude, biosphere. A lot of things we have to speak about here. Since there is a hard lesson, here is okay. All the things are on your right. All the things are on your we have discussed the important stuff. Don't write that. Don't write that. I didn't ask you to write that. I'm giving you a note. I didn't ask you to write that. What we have? Let's write down. The region. The region. Right. The region. Yeah, the first point we are writing here. Under biosphere. The region on Earth where life exists. The region on Earth where life exists. The region on Earth where life exists. It's called biosphere. It's called biosphere. Right. We'll get there. Simply, biosphere is the summation of the land. We are reading. Boys, we are reading. Look here. Biosphere is the summation of the land, sea, and atmosphere where the organisms could live in. It is the global sum of all the ecosystems. Underline that. It is the global sum of all the ecosystems. Underline. Does it do work? Don't use that. It is the global sum of all organisms. Underline that. Okay. And more you read there. It is believed that life originated on Earth about 3.6 billion years ago, and it is accepted that the life originated as unicellular organisms, and thereafter complex multicellular organisms were evolved gradually. Today, about 8.7 million species are living on Earth with a great diversity among them. You see, millions of species, is it right? What is the number? Almost about 8.7 million. 8.7 million. Million means how many zeros are there? Wow. 6 zeros. For a million, 6 zeros are there. Billion, 9 zeros. Okay. So 8.7 million species types are there. Again, I'm telling you, that is not by 1, 2, 3, 4 counting number. Okay. Types. We are one type. To whom we belong to? Apes, monkeys, Homo sapiens. We belong to Homo sapien. So Homo sapien is one species among these 8.7 million species. Understand that? Okay. So likewise, 8.7 categories are there. Right. So classification of organisms. Let's write the classification there. We are writing the classification. Grouping of organisms. Take the points into your mind and write. Okay. So it is easy for you to remember the points. Grouping of organisms. Grouping of organisms into different levels. Grouping of organisms into different levels. Based on their common. Grouping of organisms into different levels based on their common characteristics. Based on their common characteristics. Based on their common characteristics is known as classification of organisms. Known as classification of organisms. So what is called classification of organisms now? Grouping of organisms into different levels, different groups. Okay, different categories you are grouping based on what? You have to remember what is based on? Based on common characteristics. Okay, common characteristics you are taking to compare. Right. Now, look at the significance of classification. What are the importance of classifying organisms now? We discussed about them, right? What are they? Read the first point. Easy to study about the organism. So once you group all, group by group, you can learn. So all the organisms you can learn easily. Easy to study about the organisms. Ability to identify specific distinguishable characteristics of a given organism. So one organism to the other organism, you can compare and get into a clear difference between. Okay. So that is not because of you learned all the million species one by one, but because of the classified groups. So group by group, when you learn characteristics, easier you can compare and differentiate. Okay. And ability to get an idea about the whole biosphere by studying about few selected organisms without studying each organism. I told you, all millions of species we don't learn. Okay. So all the types are not learning. We are grouping them, and that the group we learn with few examples. So we are having an idea, not 100%. We don't have an idea there. In that way we are learning. So when you learn in such a way, somewhat you are getting an idea about the entire biological world. This is how they are classified. And if you get a complete idea about this chapter, whenever you are looking at an organism in your surrounding, okay, in your surrounding, that the idea comes to your mind, this is the group it belongs. Looking at its external features, outside features. And if you know about that more in detail, straight away you can categorize into the selected specific, group. So this is because of the comparison, right? And ability to get an idea about the whole biosphere by studying about few selected organisms without studying each organism. And then ability to reveal the relationship between different groups of organisms. Now, between the types of organisms, you can give the difference. You can compare them. If there are any similarities also you can compare. If there are any differences also you can compare. And identification of organisms with economical uses. So what are the economically valid organisms you can find? So these are the significances of learning about classified organisms or classification of organisms. Right. Now you see. Now everything should have been found by some people, right? Okay. So who has introduced this part? Can you see them? Read the name. What is this? Carol Since Carolus Linnaeus. What is the word? Carolus Linnaeus. Or we say Carl Linnaeus also. What Linnaeus? Carl Linnaeus. Okay, Carolus Linnaeus. Or Carl Linnaeus. He was the person who laid the foundation for the modern sciences of nomenclature. But the word nomenclature refers to naming the organism. Naming the organism is it like a dog? No, a scientific name. A scientific name, giving a scientific name. So this nomenclature is laid by whom? Started by whom? Carl Linnaeus, or else Carolus Linnaeus. Alright. So So he is known as father of whom? Father of modern taxonomy. Underline that. He was known as, underline the name, Carolus Linnaeus was known as the father of the modern taxonomy. What is taxonomy? You will learn. Underline it. Underline those words. Right. Can you tell me the name again? Who is the person? Who is the person? Who is the person? Who is the person? Carl? Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus. Or else Carl Linnaeus also we say, then it won't be coming up with this part. It is CAR. It's a short name for it. Carolus Linnaeus or else Carl Linnaeus. Carl Linnaeus. Right. Now, what is the history of this classification? Look at this. Try to read it. Try to read. I want everyone to read. There are some names. Try to read those names. Read and see. Read. I want everyone to read the Rahid WXP. Read. Your questions. You can see some new names are there. Actually, there are the names of some time. And you know, I asked you to read. Okay. Read the names. Read them. Aristotle. Right. Look at this now. Organisms can be classified in different ways by using different traits that they have. Right. Now, for example, when you're gonna look at the organisms in your surrounding, different sort of organisms, different kinds of. All these organisms, I'm asking you to label them into groups. How do? How do you do this? How do you do that? Now you are looking at the organisms in your surrounding. How would you name them? How would you classify them? What are the organisms you can see? These are lines, circles, and all the parts. In your house. There is a line there. Fine. So lions, tigers, and all you can't find in your domestic gardens, right? So what are the things you can find? Cockroach. Okay. What else? What is the name? Huh? Give me some examples that you can see in your surrounding. Insects. Can you see the microorganisms? Wow. Remember, I English meeting, not in Singapore and meeting. Okay. Right? Reptiles are there. What else? Human beings are there. Human beings are there. Okay. Cats, dogs, people are there. Buffaloes, yeah. Inside the homophones, some buffaloes are there. Right. Okay. That's what that is. Fine. Listen now. Let me see. These organisms. Okay. These organisms, I am asking you to categorize them, group them. How do you group? Some organisms, okay, animal. All of them are actual animals. Now you are saying animals, birds, insects are there. But you know, this is why I asked you this question. Because definitely you're gonna label them as some are animals, some are birds, some are reptiles, some are what you call insects. That is how you have to live. But you see, all what you say as the animals here, they belong to one category. One category they are starting off, and thereafter, according to their features, they are going to divide. They are going to divide. So sometimes sometimes you may divide the organisms like having this center, something like having wings, no wings. Okay. Having wings, no wings. Having a tail, no tail. Having four limbs, no limbs. Okay. So like this one divide. Got divide. Okay. So you see now accordingly, give me an example. Give me an example. Having what? So, right. So you see, accordingly, we are dividing as the percents and absence. This is actually called as the dichotomous case. What dichotomous case? Dichotomous case. That we have actually learned in grade 6 or so. Dichotomous case. Presence and absence based on it. And this presence and absence today, what we are taking as presence and absence comes under what do you call a morphological classification. Learn the word morphology. What is the word? Morphology. Morphology refers to external features. What features are they? External features. Morphology refers to external features, physical appearance. Based on the physical appearance, you are dividing the presence of this, absence of this, like that. So this actually falls under artificial classification. What classification is? Artificial classification. So two types of classifications are there: natural classification and artificial classification. I'm going to speak about that after this one. Now, how these classification have been, started, right? It was first, you see, who is the person? Aristotle. What total? Aristotle. Aristotle was the first person in 4th BC. Listen now. He was the person to start the scientific classification of organisms. But when it is starting with some theories, it might not be correct, or it would be having many errors. Like here, the scientific classification he started was not that much standard, but it was okay for that time. It was okay for that time because something is better than nothing, is there? So as to start up, it was okay. So accordingly, you see, Aristotle grouped the organisms into such a criteria. What is the criteria here? As per the mode of reproduction and possession or lack of red blood cell. Now the animals he has categorized into, okay, based on the type of reproduction. Okay, type of reproduction. Something like now we know that it is sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. There are two types. So depending on that, he has divided the organisms. And also he has divided the organisms based on the presence and absence of red blood cells. Presence and absence of red blood cells. If they are having red blood cells or not having red blood cells. So accordingly, yes, you are right. So I thought that this is the start of and the primary way of classification. Then what happened? After him, one of his students named Theophrastus. What Phrastus? Theophrastus. So Theophrastus, what he did, he classified the plants. Now Aristotle has classified the animals, right? Isn't it? Aristotle has classified the animals. Animals based on what? Based on the presence, absence of red blood cells, and then the mode of reproduction. His student Theophrastus, he has classified the plants based on what? According to their uses and methods of cultivation. How they are cultivated, how they are planted and cultivated, and what are their use? So depending on those things, he has classified the plants. Now, 18th AD, Carlos Linnaeus introduced a successful method of classification and nomenclature where the organisms are classified into specific groups and given scientific. It was Carlos Linnaeus who gave a very clear and clever, and also can be used even now, a successful classification method. It was introduced by Carl Linnaeus or Carlos. And not only a method to classify, but to label it, but to give them a scientific name, also a mechanism by whom Carlos Linnaeus. So Carlos Linnaeus was the first person to give that scientific classification method as well as nomenclature, naming the organism as well. Okay. So could you please underline this part from here? These two lines, highlight this. Adi. Underline that. Underline those two lines. Next point, write down. Then scientists such as read the words. Who are the names? Ernest Ernest Haeckel. What's the name? Ernest Haeckel. And then Staton. What on? Staton. Copeland. What's the name? Copeland, Robert Whittaker, Carl Fusey were also involved in classification of animals. Please underline those names. Ernest Haeckel, Staton, Copeland, Robert Whittaker, Carl Fusey. These were some people, some scientists who have contributed in classification of organisms. Okay. So different methods they have given. A successful method is one given by this Campbell's Linnaeus. This is what we are using. Among them, the five kingdom classification introduced by Robert Whittaker in 1969 was highly recommended. Okay. Robert Whittaker, another example. Five kingdom classification was done by Robert Whittaker. The five kingdom classification introduced by Robert Whittaker. The five kingdom classification introduced by Robert Whittaker. Okay. Fine. Okay. Before we start off the next part, guys, listen. All you people are given a tube, right? What do you think about the tube? What is your comment about the tube? The tube. What is the comment about the tube? Usually this is the tube or getting the tube. What is the comment of the tube? How do you think about the tube? Right. All the notes are being given wrong. None of the parts are missed. Okay. Everything given clear and clear. Related diagrams are also given. Okay. So in a well organized it's given for you to learn properly. So why I wanted to remind it is when I'm going around I could see the way you are using it. Right? So here and there just rotating around the crushed up marks are there and underlining it is not an underlining, it's a way. I'm asking you to underline, you don't know how to underline it. So you see, why I'm saying is now I have given you the tube, it's up to you now. But still when I'm saying that, because the tube is mine, right? So I know what is the important way people don't learn, right? If you understand the importance of the nodes given in an obvious way, they are learned, then you begin the tube, right? And moreover, underlining means should be an underline. Waves are going here and there, cutting the words as right? Then how do you learn? Okay, moreover, when you are looking at that, how much nicely they are getting the tune, if you don't maintain them properly. When you are looking at the tune, you should be waiting to learn that cutting, everywhere cutting from it, and also moreover coloring everywhere. So if you are learning, you are doing like that, will you like to look at that again? No, it's a psychological thing, sir. Psychologically, mentally, if you don't maintain them properly, this happens. So that happens because of especially those who are mentally affected people are there. Mentally affected people are there. Those who are mentally affected, they can't just keep a pen or a pencil along with. They have to just put to be there. They have to just write. Also, and they just want thinking that you are artistic. They are just dropping on. Okay. So these are mentally affected people's signs. If you see such people, okay, just remind them. Remind them. Don't say you are a mentor. Okay. Tell him don't do mental works. That's a polite way, rather than say you are mentor. Okay. Now, when I'm saying that, those who did that, they got that short right. Okay. So avoid not only this, whatever the notes you are doing, don't do that. Because you have to keep them maintained well so that you can clearly hear. Okay, nicely you can observe them once again. You understand? Okay. If I see any of your students are not maintained well, such particular people are not working on it or to be working. Okay. Clear? You understand? No, that's anyhow, even the online class are not doing the tools today. They are doing this physical. No, you can bring that after you will be nicely, because it's yours. You are positive for that. So you will be nicely, using that without anything. And there is some people coming up with, sir, cute class. Cute part. Cute is in grandma's. She is learning at home. Okay. So all these reasons are being why because they don't have any importance. So because these are given free. Something if it is given free. Okay. So please maintain this way. Okay. So that it will be helpful for you to learn when you are late night learner. When you are reading the exam, late night, you have to learn. So when the duty is nice to see, organize your notes up, then you can easier get the idea, access the idea. And why are you underlining? Out of the whole note, the important point which comes basically in the sequence and short version, that is what we are underlining. Okay. Otherwise, what is the use of underlining again? When the note is given. Why are we highlighting? Why are we underlining? Those are important. So underlining means properly underline. Some of them are underlining. Above the note, they have drawn the line. That is not underlining. That's not underlining. Understand? Okay. So properly do that. Right. Get back to the lesson now. Types of classification. Guys, so types of classifications. Two types of classification are. What are the two types of classification? Right. Two types of classification are there. What are the two types of classification? Natural classification and artificial classification. What are the two types? Repeat the words. Natural classification, artificial classification. Okay. What is natural classification? Natural classification means you're gonna group the organisms. You are classifying the organisms based on evolutionary relationships. What relationships? Evolutionary relationships. Okay. Based on their biological relationship. From which organism to which organism there are. Like man came from monkeys, the apes. Right? So like evolutionary relationships are taken into this natural classification. So in this natural classification, different properties have been concerned. What are the properties? Look here, new words. In natural classification, morphological. That's not psychological, I know. You will read like that. Physiological. What logical? Physiological. Cytological. Molecular biology. Molecular biology. You don't want to go deeply what are they and all. You just remember the rules. All what they say, in all the possible perspectives they have been compared. Okay? Like what are their cellular structures, the tissue size comparison, by the physiological, the physically, whatever the appearances are there, that is called morphology. Morphology means the skeleton, external features. So biologically, molecules, how the molecules are formed, what are the similarities that we have. Like all these theories have been compared, and cannot be these certification methods have been. So this is not just done within a day or night. Okay, long hours, long days have been taken to all these categorized according to the successful classification process. Right? So let's write the other natural classification. The classification of organisms. The classification of organisms. The classification of organisms. Classification of organisms which depict which depicts evolutionary relationships, among the organisms, which depicts the evolutionary relationships among the organisms, is known as natural classification. Is known as natural classification. It's known as natural classification. It's known as natural classification. So what is natural classification? Classifying the organisms based on evolutionary relationship. They are depicting, they are showing evolution. Organism to organism, simple to complex. What are the evolutionary bonds? These things are compared. And what are the features taken on? Morphological, physiological, cytological, molecular, biological features are considered. So all these features are considered in natural classification. Guys, okay. Now in this natural classification, two properties commonly taken of the. What are the two common properties? Explains the natural relationship among the organisms of the same species. That means man will take Homo sapiens. Within the Homo sapiens, okay, within all the organisms means all living groups within Homo sapiens. Okay, man means one name, right? Okay, I mean two genders are there, man and woman, or as male and female, you say. So you see, so among them, as a human being, Homo sapien, what are the similarities? Okay, what are the biological similarities, relationships they do have? We can build out. So that is one. Within the same type of organisms, what are the similarities? What are the evolutionary relationships between them? And the second point, not only within the same species, one species to another species. Okay, one species to another species, with other species, with other close species, what are the evolutionary bonds? What are the evolutionary relationships we are building up? And that is how we came for a conclusion that man is rising from whom? Donkeys or monkeys? Monkeys. Some are here, they are donkeys also, right? Okay. So that is why those habits are there, right? So man came from monkeys and apes. It's the correct word, right? So monkey, on the day. So man came from monkeys and apes. We say that's because of a lot of evolutionary connections are there. Evolutionary relationships have been revealed out comparing the man and the monkeys. Okay? So both of them are mammals. That's one. Both of them are mammals. Both of them are feeding their kids by mother's milk. So they are nourished by mother's milk. Okay? And also, just like the man, monkeys, all the sort of monkeys, they do have hairs over the body. The skin is covered. Over the skin, we do have hairs. And some of the things like the tail, you don't have. But the eyes when you are comparing, if you have a black eye, just like the other organisms, like the tiger, lion, dogs, and all you are comparing, if you have an animal like this, have you seen staying in front of a dog? Go home. If you have a stray dog or something close by, right front, stay right front of a dog and see. Again, see there's an angle like this. The eyes are not situated. The eyes are not situated exactly on one flat line. Now going home, don't stand in front of the mirror. Okay? Right? Stand in front of the mirror. I call stand in front of a dog, but inside the mirror, right? So, and you can see there's an angle like this. Right? There's an angle like this. Right? So, man, do we have such an angle? Do we have such an angle? No. We have a flat surface. Same like the monkeys. Okay? They all stand the same. And the ears will be big. We have the ears external, outer ears we got. Monkeys also have outer ears. If you have a problem, if you have a doubt on that, go for a monkey and see. Okay? Go for a monkey, go towards a monkey and see. Okay? You hit it, it will also hit there. You can't just hit. Same features according to the next, right? Okay? You just keep it on, it will also hit it. I have practically done that. That is not a no, that is not something they do have their own language. They have their own language. Once there is a mistake. A huge monkey was there. I was just, like for a video, I was also getting, right? Like a man, when you keep on getting someone, he gives a nice reaction, right? Then they came first, jumping over for a big distance. Right, stand. Okay, why? Because it's not the name marks and all maybe turning into poison. Okay, so under control, you have to do all those things, right? So, is it that is also because of some sort of genetical tradition, genetical relationship between these organs. That's clear. Theoretical issues are there. It is not monkey but donkey. Understand? You understand that? Theoretical issue will be there. If it is not a monkey but a donkey. Here, just find out if it is a monkey or donkey. Right. Okay. Fine. Not both me. It cannot be. That is what the homosexuality generated should be a relationship monkey. I mean, relationship monkey means the lineage should be with a monkey according to science. Okay. Right. Did you understand that? So you see, natural relationships are between the same organisms and other organisms. So this is given because of what classification is natural or artificial. Natural classification. So natural classification is for depicting all these evolutionary relationships. What is the next one? Artificial classification. What visual classification? Artificial. What is this artificial classification? Artificial classification refers to now in natural classification. Look here, natural classification. What we said, they depict evolutionary relationship. Okay. If not artificial, that is simple idea. If they are depicting the natural evolutionary relationship, if organisms are depicting, showing based on evolutionary relationship, that is called natural classification. If they do not show the evolutionary relationship, they are not depending on the evolutionary relationship. Just you have grouped it, just like you did earlier. This grouping is what we term as artificial classification. Here, like earlier we said, cytological, molecular biological, physiological, these features are not concerned. Only one feature is concerned. What is that one feature? Morphological. Morphological. What is the meaning of the word morphology? Physical appearance. Remember the word. Morphology means physical appearance, external appearance. They have an external appearance, right? So this external appearance is what we term as morphological. Morphological. Okay. So only the morphological features have been taken in artificial classification. So we have to think about if it is correct or wrong. Okay. So let's write there first. The classification of organisms. The classification of organisms. Right. The classification of organisms. Classification of organisms. That does not depict the evolutionary relationships, does not depict the evolutionary relationships among the organisms, does not depict the evolutionary relationships among the organisms, is known as the artificial classification. Evolutionary relationships is known as the artificial classification. Artificial classification. Right? We have got one more line, right? Below that line also there is space, right? Use a different color pen and write here. Use a different color pen and write. Here. Please write continuously using a different color pen. Here. Only morphological. Use a different color pen, right? Here. Only morphological features. Here. Only morphological features are considered. Here only morphological features are considered. So better somewhere close to that right there. Morphology means external features or else physical appearance. Only morphological features are considered. Right. Now only the morphological features are considered, right? So we have to think about if this classification method is correct or wrong. Example. Let's say I'm giving you some organisms like eagle, bat, parrot, okay, and the housefly, butterfly, ladybird. Right. Now tell me these organisms. How do you categorize these organisms? All these organisms have wings, right? All of them are having wings, right? According to artificial classification, all these organisms fall into the same group, right? What is the same group? Organisms with wings. Now, being in the same group, does it mean that eagle and the ladybird are same? Crow and the butterfly are same? No, right? They do have a clear difference between, right? But according to artificial classification, where the morphological features, physical appearance only considered, then it gives a incomplete, a wrong classification. So that we say artificial classification is not successful. But still we have learned because it is a start. It's a start. Okay. So depending on the morphological features, we are dividing. Otherwise, you see, crow, eagle, they are birds. But is it a bird? It's not a bird. Then it is a mammal. Why? Because of one common feature. Okay, nourished by the mother's milk, right? And parrot, it's a bird. And how about these? These are insects. Within the insects also there are types. Those types actually we are not learning. Only up to the insects part in that category we are learning. So you see now, according to artificial classification, all these things will be falling under the same. Okay? Will be falling into the same, which is wrong. It may be totally a wrong idea. More examples. Plants can be grouped as ornamental, herbal, poisonous plants. Right? Some are poisonous, some are herbal, some are ornamental. But classification is just based on what you can see. What you can see the physical appearance. So that is not a complete classification method. Second one, animals can be grouped as with wings and without wings, something like this, which is not a complete correct idea. Okay. So there are many errors in classifying organisms according to the artificial classification. Under the criteria of presence of wings, birds and insects both are included into a single group, but they belong to two different groups when considering their evolutionary relation. That's true, right? Birds and insects are totally different, and we have included mammal as well. So all of them are different to each other evolutionary. Okay, so this is why natural classification is important. So initially artificial classification was there based on the morphological features only. Later it was neglected and modified as natural classification. So that natural classification method is what we are supposed to learn. Is that clear? Okay, the difference between natural and artificial is what as a definition given, as a description given. Right. So now under this natural classification, you have to learn about taxonomy. What nomi? Taxonomy. Now anyone has an idea about this word taxonomy? What is taxonomy? Some of you people have already learned this at school. What is called taxonomy? Tax, right? So taxonomical level is in biology because in the hierarchical method, that means inheritance method, inheritance, the lineage of the organism. The lineage of the organisms we are taking. Yeah, the lineage of the organism. They are taking the lineage of the organism we are taking, the order of the organism we are taking. They do have some positions in the biological group. Just like we are taking your family. Who is the first person? Who is the first? Your family name? Grandpa. Then grandpa's grandpa, all grand, all. So it is family. Now, in a complex family, fine. Grandpa, grandma, their grand, everything you take. Your father, mother, when you are taking, starting from, who is the first person? Father. Who is the second person? Mother. Probably in some houses, mother is the first person. Some houses, father will be controlled by the mother. Father looking at this like, father is second. That is also there. But still, everybody, you are thinking about your family, my father is second. Okay. So you see, everybody, when you come for a family, father is the first person, right? Come out of the chair. First person is father. The second person is mother. And then there is an order. Elder brother, elder sister, the younger, that goes on order. Okay. So you see, this is the order within the family. The sequence order within the family. Likewise, when you come for the organisms, the classification of organisms, there is an order where they have been grouped. Big to small, they have been grouped. So this order is termed as taxonomical levels. What levels? Taxonomical levels, or else taxonomy. Taxonomy. So you see, taxonomic levels are used in natural classification of organisms. Taxonomical classification divides the species in hierarchical system. I said hierarchical. Different pronunciations are there. Hierarchical system, that means the lineage of the organisms, sequence of order, beginning with a domain and ending with a single species. There are 8 taxonomical levels. How many taxonomic levels are there? 8 taxonomic levels are there. Right? Talha, do you know the taxonomic levels? No, right? So listen and learn. Categories within the taxonomic classification are arranged in increasing specificity. Highlight these. Then we'll speak about that part. That one line speaks about the orders. Go home and go home and see this. You can find it. Right. So see, the most general category of taxonomy classification is the domain, which is the point of origin for all the species and the loads. Guys, look at this. Look at this. Take these words. Look at this words. Right. Domain, kingdom, right? Phylum, class, right? Order, family, genus, species. This is the order. The 8 taxonomic levels. Okay. And these 8 taxonomic levels are arranged in, this is the ordering. When you move from domain to species, specificity increases. Okay. Ascending order of increasing specificity. What do you mean by that? Increasing specificity means from left to right when you are moving here, domain to species when you are moving on, they become more specific. Okay. Specificity increases. Specificity increases. What do you mean by that? Becomes more specific, more unique. Yes. They become more specific, they become more unique. Example, all 8.7 million, don't write this part. All 8.7 million organisms were there in the domain. There are 3 domains actually. There are 3 domains. All 8. Earlier we told, right? 8.7 million species are there. Okay. Capital M refers for million sometimes. Okay. Okay. So this all 8.7 million species we are divided into 3 domains. That means millions of organisms, millions of types will be there inside this. Right? 8.7 millions means at least 8. Okay. At least 8 millions are there. Okay. So accordingly, all of them will be categorized into 3 domains. So that the domain would be having a huge amount of organisms types. Domains are categorized into kingdom. So one domain is categorized into some kingdoms means, let's say in the first domain 1000 species were there. Second classification, kingdoms, right? 2 kingdoms we divide, let's say. Will they be having the same 1000? No, right? Less than that, no. Less than that. Maybe somewhere 900, 100, or 800, 200, 500, 500. So like an odd number it would be there. So you see it's divided. Now the kingdoms furthermore divided into 5. Furthermore that 500 is divided. Likewise, it keeps on dividing when you come for the last level species. That means you started there as 8.7 million all in one category, 3 domains. You are ending up at each 8.7. That the 8.7s were there, each of them taken separately. Imagine of a mind map. Imagine of a mind map. You are going to divide it like this. You keep on dividing. You keep on dividing like this. So dividing upon, you start at 1000, let's say. For example, boys, you start at one group 1000. You are ending all 1000 separately as one each alone. Do you understand that? So 1000 boxes you are ending up here and there. Likewise, 8.7 million divided into 3 domains. At last, in the complete division. We don't learn everything here. Okay. Idea given you. At last, in the complete classification, all of those 8.7 millions are taken separately in groups. Right? You understand that? So accordingly, that is the species become more specific. Example, out of 8.7 million species, we are one. Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens belong to species. Okay, Homo sapiens belong to species, one type of species, and within this one type of species, individually when you count, millions of people are there. That's it. Millions of people are there. Total count actually we do from the beginning of the earth until now we don't know the total count. Okay, so far for a certain number of years backwards, statistics we do have. This number of count was there, but exactly we can't figure it out because a lot of data are important. Why? The person living in this year will be living in the next year also for some time. So he would be added again to the next year's annual report. Sometimes the person might not be. It would be lost. So that is a big filter. So an exact, completely accurate amount we don't have. A rough idea we can give. Okay. Moreover, whatever the count we are taking, let's say millions of people were there. All those millions of people are belonging for whom? One species. What is that species? Homo sapiens. Likewise, all the buffaloes you take. All the buffaloes, okay? Not the so-called buffalo from your mom or dad. Sometimes from dad or say buffalo, not those buffaloes. Okay? So real buffaloes, those buffaloes you take, all the buffaloes are categorized into the buffalo species. So they will have some scientific names. All the goats, all the dogs, all the cats categorized into one particular group. You understand that? Is that clear? So accordingly, you see. When you come for the species, it becomes more specific. So remember, it is the increasing order. It is the increasing order of specificity. Ascending order means actually small to big, right? Small to big, right? Ascending means small to big, right? So increasing order. Mark this using a different color pen. Using a different color pen. Mark. Write that down. What is given? If you have written, fine. Mark this as there, right? Because this is the order you have taken. Fine. Now learn those 8 categories in order. Boys, all the 8 taxonomic levels. Learn them. I'm giving you 2 minutes. 2 minutes time. Learn the 8 categories. The taxonomic levels in order. All the taxonomic levels in order you have to give me now. Learn it. The main kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. The main kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Repeat it. The main kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Repeat it. Everyone, repeat it. The main kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Then easy to learn. Okay. Take it as 4 in 1. First one, the second. Easy to remember. The main kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Family. All right, Shazeen, get up. Others, please listen. Others, listen. You may not. Taxonomy. No, don't do that. Order, family, genus, species. Yes. Zaid, can you tell me? Zaid. Zaid is there, right? Zaid, I can speak. Give me the order. Give me the order. Others, please be quiet. Shrilan. Aisha. Yeah. Danish. Right. All together, what are the 8? Don't shout. Okay? Don't shout. If you really want to shout, there are some rallies going on, you know. They need the people to come and shout, saying their names. You can appoint and do. Okay. So don't shout. Here. Go there and right. Give me the 8 orders again. Domain, kingdom, title, class, order, family, breeder, species. Right. So is it increasing specificity or decreasing specificity? Increasing specificity. But guys, you see, you have to read the question. If it is from domain to species, increasing specificity. Species back to domain, increasing specificity. MCQs change like that. Okay? Right. 2 examples. Actually, this comes under extra knowledge on your textbook, but still you have to learn. Not all extra knowledge you have to get, but this part you have to learn because this comes in the questions. Right. So you see, the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order is what taken here for 2 organisms. What are the 2 organisms? One is the man, the other one is coconut tree. What tree it is? Coconut tree. We'll read the names. Nice names are there. Pronounce them properly. Learn the words. Okay. Look here. Look at this. Domain, eukarya. What is it? What is the domain? Domain, eukarya. Okay. Now, before this, what shall I do? That's the name. Right? No, you can't change the name. You can't change the name. That is what I said. Pronounce it properly. Understand what? Pronounce it properly. Okay. Right. Going home when you are learning this. Going home when you are learning this, make sure you are pronouncing it properly. Going on the street, if you are reading out this word, make sure you are pronouncing it properly. Otherwise, it is divided into 2 terms. That becomes the big problem. Okay. So, what is it? Domain, eukarya. Kingdom, Animalia. What Malia? Animalia. Phylum, Chordata. Data? Chordata. Chordata. Okay, or else Chordata also we see, right? Not data, data. Yeah, data at home. This is data, right? Chordata. Class, Mammalia. What here? Mammalia. Order, primates. What names? Primates. Family, Hominidae. What they? Hominidae. Genus, Homo. What is it? Homo. Species, Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens. Okay, not louder. We'll read out these 8 in order. Eukarya, Animalia, Chordata, Mammalia, Primate, Hominidae, Homo, Homo sapiens. Repeat it again. How to memorize it? What are they? Eukarya, Animalia, right? Chordata, what is it? Mammalia, Primate, Hominidae, Homo, Homo sapiens. Once again. Eukarya, Animalia, Chordata, Mammalia. Eukarya, Animalia, Chordata, Mammalia. Primate, Hominidae, Homo sapiens. Primate, Hominidae, Homo sapiens. Okay. Once again, repeat it. Eukarya, Animalia, Chordata, Mammalia. Primate, Hominidae, Homo sapiens. Right? If you can't remember these words, keep the words for your pen, pencil, book, and whatever. Okay. So this is like simple. Hominidae I'm saying. So when I'm looking at this, hominidae comes to my mind. I can remember that word. Hominidae. Okay. Likewise, keep these words not on your brains. The objects that you are using up. Is that clear? Right? And if you are giving the name for your friend, what is the name your friend keeps? You have to, satisfy with that. You have to digest with that. You can't fight for that. Okay? Right. You see, what about the coconut tree? Look at the coconut tree. Coconut tree, coconut tree. Okay? Look here. What are they? Eukarya. What is it? Eukarya. Plantae. What they? Plantae. Now division. Same phylum we are using it as division. Okay? What is the division? Magnoliophyta. Magnoliophyta. Right. What is this class? Liliopsida. What is it? Liliopsida. This is Ericaceae. Okay? Ericaceae. Ericaceae. What's the word? Ericaceae. Right? Ericaceae. No. What's the page? Another page. Ericaceae. Coccus. What is it? Coccus. Coccus Division Magnoliophyta, class Heliopsida, order Ericaceae, family Ericaceae, yeah, genus Homo, genus flower, and species yeah, both of them are eukaryotes. Okay, both of them are eukaryotes. Now, keep the word. Right. Now tell me the words again. Give me all 8 terms. Under the 8 terms, give me for Homo sapiens. No, just all 8 in order. Only the 8 that part. The names. Eukarya, Archaea, Media, Media. Eukarya, Archaea, Media, Media. Repeat, Homo sapiens. Repeat. Eukarya, Archaea, Media, Media. Okay, primates, Hominidae, Homo sapiens. Okay. Eukarya, Animalia, Hominidae, Animalia. Primates, Hominidae, Homo sapiens. Again. Everyone, repeat it. How to memorize it right now. Eukarya, Animalia, Hominidae, Animalia. Primates, Hominidae, Homo sapiens. Again. Eukarya, Animalia, Hominidae, Animalia. Yes. Primates, Hominidae, Homo sapiens. Right. Next one. Eukarya, Plantae, Magnoliophyta, Heliopsida, Ericaceae, Ericaceae, Locus, they will disappear. Okay, next. Read it again. Eukarya, Plantae, Magnoliophyta, Heliopsida, right. Ericaceae. Right? Liliopsida. Okay? Once again, these 8. Properly pronounce it. Look at this. Eukarya, Plantae, Magnoliophyta, Liliopsida. Ericaceae, Ericaceae, Locus, Neosipera. Okay. Right? Ericaceae. Now, different people pronounce it in different ways. You have to remember. You have to remember properly. Okay? Right. You see now? You see now? All the organisms, we are dividing into 2. What are the 2? All the organisms we are dividing into 2. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Before karyotes, okay, after karyotes, right? Laughing, right? So, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. That's all. Now, pro and eu are taking it before and after that. Okay. What it is, depending on the nucleus. Depending on the nucleus. Let's say, look at this. Look here. New terms are there, okay? If the nucleus is a distinct nucleus, what nucleus? Distinct nucleus. Can you remember what is called distinct nucleus? Right, learn now. What is a distinct nucleus? The nucleus which is covered by a nuclear membrane. Nucleus which is covered by a nuclear membrane. Okay, that means nucleus is organized and covered completely by a membrane. A nuclear envelope is present. A nuclear membrane is present. That is called a distinct nucleus. Organisms with a distinct nucleus, we name it as eukaryotes. What are the organisms? Eukaryotes. You can see here. This is the nucleus. Can you see? Have a look now. Now itself compare them. Okay. This is the nucleus. Nucleus is covered by a nuclear membrane. Can you see? There's a membrane, right? Inside that only the nucleolus is there. This entire part is nucleus. This entire large spherical part given here, that is nucleus. Inside the nucleus, you have nucleolus, chromosomes, whatever contents are there, that is within the body, within the wall. What is the wall here? Nuclear membrane. Okay. So this is called a nucleus with a membrane. Distinct nucleus. What nucleus? Distinct nucleus. So with a distinct nucleus means an organized nucleus covered with covered with a nuclear membrane. Covered with a nuclear membrane. What about this? Can you see here? Do we have a completely covered up nucleus here? No. We got nuclei, some parts of the nucleus. And whatever should be there inside the nucleus will be there out. Okay. So it is not covered. They don't have a wall. So without a distinct nucleus. Now earlier we took with, right? Now without a distinct nucleus, we term it as prokaryotes. What karyotes? Prokaryotes. Eukaryotes and prokaryotes. Okay. So eukaryotes are called the organisms with a distinct nucleus. The nucleus is covered by a nuclear membrane. Nucleus is covered by a nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane. If they don't have a nuclear membrane, they are called prokaryotes. Okay. Nuclear membrane is not present means the nucleus is not covered by a nuclear membrane. Then it is called prokaryotic organisms. Prokaryotes. They are having a distinct nucleus enclosed by, covered by a nuclear membrane. They are called eukaryotic organisms. Eukaryotic organisms. Is that clear about that? Okay, right. Prokaryotes, right there. Organisms composed of cells that do not possess, they don't have a distinct nucleus are called prokaryotes. You have to remember the definition. Highlighting. Organisms composed of cells that do not possess a distinct nucleus are called prokaryotes. Prokaryotes. What is the next line? Organisms composed of the cells that possess a distinct nucleus, they are called eukaryotes. Underline that or highlight that as well. Both the statements you have to highlight. Both the statements you have to highlight. Okay. And now, guys, look here. There's a space here, right? There are two spaces either side. Guys, these 2 points you have to write here. You can write this one to the left, this part to the right. Because left side we have the eukaryote, right side we have the prokaryote. So I'm dividing it into two, separating it into two. Left side you have to write this, right side you have to write this. Okay. In these two spaces, right? With a distinct nucleus, eukaryotes. Without a distinct nucleus, prokaryotes. If you have written in the same side, that's fine. No need to erase. Right done? Finalize what decided. Right. taxonomic level classification. Okay, look at this now. Next part. Have a look, have a look. Right. Now, first taxonomic level is domain based. Domain. Repeat those things. Domain, kingdom, order, space. Domain is also right. All the organisms we are dividing into three domains. What are the three domains? Domain archaea. Archaea. Right. And then now different dimensions are there, different language, different style dimensions are there. Archaea. Domain archaea. Domain bacteria. And then domain eukarya. Right. So now listen. Now some words are there in science. If you are learning the number, okay, nice. Where is called eukarya. Eukarya, prokarya. These are the two types of organisms. Right. Doing more butterfly casting activity. So properly pronounce it. Look at this now. Domain archaea. Archaea. What is archaea? Look at this. Archaea bacteria, both of them belong to prokaryotes. Archaea bacteria, both of them belong to prokaryotes. Prokaryotes means, okay, prokaryotes means without a distinct nucleus. Okay. So see, domain archaea, prokaryotes without a distinct nucleus, who have the ability to live in extreme environmental conditions like volcanoes. Now these people means these organisms, they can live in high extreme environmental conditions. Extreme means at a high temperature, just like in volcanoes, hot water springs. The places where the other organisms cannot survive, something like this, beneath the oceanic bed, beneath the earth's crust. Okay, so hot deserts. Okay, water springs as I told you, volcanoes. Cities commonly following up all the nature, they fall on the archaea. Right? So see, now polar caps means polar regions are there, polar regions, ice regions are there. So in all these places we can find archaea, we can so read down. Sri Lanka, do we have deserts? Yes. You know why you desert? Do you know what is called desert? Not desert. I'm not talking about that in a delicious dessert there. Right? What are they? It is all those who are there belong to this. Right, guys. Okay, now this is nice. Domain archaea, who have the ability to live in extreme environmental conditions like volcanoes, deserts, hot springs, ocean beds. That is the bottom of the ocean. Otherwise, there is no bed. No? There is no bed inside the ocean. Okay, ocean bed rivers go. That is the bed of the ocean. No, wait, I will speak about it. Right. Listen. What is next one? High saline environment. Saline means salinity. More amount of salt is dissolved in the ocean water. So high saline environment we can find. Polar caps. All these organisms usually live in these areas, these spaces. That doesn't mean that polar bear belongs to this. That doesn't mean that the camels are belonging to this. Okay. Some organisms, we are speaking about the archaea. Polar bear and the camels and all, you take the animals, those who are having eukaryotic cellular structure. That means they do have a distinct nucleus. They have a prominent nucleus. An organized nucleus they got. Okay. So you see, they are not sensitive to most antibiotics. Who are not sensitive? Underline this. Not sensitive to most antibiotics. We are speaking about. No. They what we thing is initially we are dividing with this way. That present only happening. Obviously. Yes, we started. We just start, isn't it? Now only we are doing after this we have been writing. Okay. So you say here, we just started, right? Not sensitive to most of the antibiotics. We will take example. So they cannot be destroyed with antibiotics. Guys, look at this. Look at this. Right? Antibiotics means what is antibiotics? Antibiotics. Right? Antibiotics are the chemicals produced by one microorganism. It is applied to another microorganism, then the second microorganism may be destroyed. We have learned it today, right? I have now called what is antibiotic. Why not repeat? Because now I call it. Why can't repeat? Because you can listen to it. Listen. A chemical substance produced in one microorganism. A chemical substance produced in one microorganism. When you add that for another microorganism, the second microorganism may be destroyed or deactivated. Such chemicals are termed as antibiotics. Okay. So these antibiotics we are using as medicines, right? Erythromycin, Panadol, Panadine. So these are antibiotics. Now, listen. So you see, after when you are taking, they are not sensitive for these antibiotics. That means they cannot be killed by. Why? They are not sensitive. They are not sensitive for antibiotics means they can't be destroyed by these antibiotics. But bacteria when you are taking, they are sensitive to antibiotics. That is why we intake antibiotics to kill the bacteria in our body. Bacteria in our body is a bacterial infection. Understand? So archaea, they are not sensitive to antibiotics. Bacteria are sensitive to antibiotics. So bacteria also belongs to whom? Without an organized nucleus. That means prokaryotes. So you see there, archaea, bacteria, both of them belong to prokaryotes that are sensitive to antibiotics. So you see here, not sensitive to most antibiotics. We underline that. Again, underline here, sensitive to antibiotics and sometimes are pathogenic. All the bacteria are not pathogenic. All the bacteria are not pathogenic. Hundreds of bacteria are living inside the body. We know that happening. Where is it? Inside where? Inside cells. Is that so? In your alimentary canal, the gut, the digestive pathway. Okay. There are hundreds of bacteria. Some of the bacteria are important. Some others are harmful. But they will have a work to be done within our gut, right? So these bacteria which are taking, they are sensitive to antibiotics, common bacteria, and some of them are pathogenic. Most of others are, most of others are helpful. Like you might have learned about the microorganisms. That microorganisms are being used in some industries, right? In medicine, agriculture, bioconservation, you learn that, right? Under all these categories, you are applying these microorganisms. They are the benefits. And those effects are very good. Okay. Okay. Now, where we can find them? Found everywhere. Everywhere in the world, these bacteria are everywhere. When you are looking at your skin, even here bacteria are. If you can see the bacteria over your skin, what happens? You will faint. You become unconscious. Why? That large number of bacteria are there. How it seems to be like rambutan like it is falling over your skin. What happened? Rambutan like long what like it is moving over your body, right? Just a worm even moving on. Okay, one worm moving on. You can't keep that. So now all these bacteria you can see by your naked. Okay, you can see it. You can make. That is our goodness. We can't see anything. Our goodness, we can't see anything. Now these microorganisms are there on the skin. Okay, this is right. does it mean that that is not good? Listen. There are some microorganisms, they have to live on your body. They are called bioflora. There are some organisms, they have to feed it. So, anyhow, there are microorganisms, obviously, inside your body, it is there. Inside your body, it is there. Water, air, everywhere they do exist. Everywhere in earth, we can find these special bacteria found everywhere in the environment, that they are the most abundant group of organisms, most common microorganisms. Bacteria, cyanobacteria belong to this group. So these are the two kingdoms. Under domain is divided into kingdom, right? First one is domain, second one is kingdom, right? Under this domain, we have bacteria and cyanobacteria together. Bacteria and cyanobacteria. And now we'll take that separately. Domain eukarya. Domain eukarya, when you are taking the most prominent organisms of the eukaryotic cellular organization, you know this. So all the organisms having a distinct nucleus. All the organisms having a distinct nucleus. So what is called distinct nucleus? Give me the word. What is called distinct nucleus? A nucleus covered with a nuclear membrane. What is called distinct nucleus? Nucleus. Why? Repeat now. What is called distinct nucleus? Nucleus covered with a nuclear membrane. Now, you can learn that. Don't ignore them. Okay? So repeat the word. What is called distinct nucleus? Nucleus covered with a nuclear membrane. What is the nuclear membrane? That is called distinct nucleus. So all organisms having a distinct nucleus, they fall under domain eukarya. So are you people belonging to eukarya or eukarya? All of us belong to eukarya. Eukarya belong, right? So see, they have the ability. What is the ability they do have? To live in different environments and are not sensitive to antibiotics. Underline. Are not sensitive to antibiotics. So aren't we sensitive to antibiotics? Not aren't we? Suddenly aren't we? Okay, aren't we sensitive for these antibiotics? Imagine now we are sensitive. Imagine if you are sensitive. If your body is sensitive to antibiotics, once you take the antibiotic, before the bacteria is being killed, you are killed. Isn't it? Why? It is poisonous, right? Harmful means poisonous, isn't it? You are sensitive to that means you are reacting to that. You might be getting killed or you might be getting internal problems. Right? So we are not sensitive for this antibiotics. Inside our body, bacteria are sensitive, so bacteria are sensitive. Now, sir said, no, we are not sensitive for antibiotics. So going home, 5 paradox at one job. You have 5 paradox. That becomes, higher dosage. Dosage is high. When the amount is high, that makes abnormal reactions in the body. Maybe treat yourself as. Okay, don't try yourself. Right? Fine. Listen now. Under this domain eukarya, we have 4. Guys, look here. We have fungi, protista, plantae, animalia. 4 types of kingdoms. 4 types of kingdoms. Now all these we are going to categorize in one. Fungal varieties, it is fungi, fungi, both we say. Okay. Fungus is the singular word. What is the singular word? Fungus. Plural. In terms, all the fungal varieties commonly, we take it as fungi or as fungi. Or we say fungal varieties. Fungal varieties. Right? Right. Okay now. All the organisms. Don't write first. First listen. All the organisms we are dividing into 3 domains, right? Now listen. What are the 3 domains? Domain archaea, domain bacteria, domain eukarya. The domain bacteria, we got kingdom. Again, don't write. I told you not to write. You can't plan out the space. Until I am finished, you can't plan your space. So listen first. Rahim. Under domain bacteria, we got kingdom bacteria and cyanobacteria. Kingdom bacteria and cyanobacteria. Adi look here. Bacteria and cyanobacteria comes under domain bacteria. Different types. Already we took like different types. What is the difference? Cyanobacteria, they are photosynthetic. They can produce their bacteria. They have to depend on others to food. Likewise, there are differences. The differences we do have separated pillar. Domain eukarya when you are taking, they are divided into 4 categories. What are the 4 categories? Kingdom fungi. Yeah. Protista. Kingdom plantae. Kingdom animalia. What are they? Now, you are listening these words, you can easier remember. I'll ask you. Okay. Rahil, careful if you don't give me answers. Okay. Kingdom fungi and plantae, we don't learn much about this. Only this common characteristics we learn. What are their properties at all? Specifically, we are not categorizing this. They don't know. Within a certain limit only we are learning in grade 3. And when you come to kingdom plantae, we divide them into what are the? We divide them as all the plants. We divide them as flowering plants and non-flowering plants. What plants? Flowering plants and non-flowering plants. Okay. With flowers, without flowers. With flowers, without flowers. Flowering plants further we divided into two. Monocotyledon. What is it? What is the word? Monocotyledon. Cotyledon. Monocotyledon. Look at this. What we say? Look at this. Look. Monocotyledon. Monocotyledon. How we say? Monocotyledon, monocots. Second one, dicotyledon or dicots. How we say? Dicots. Right? Monocotyledon, dicotyledon. Monocots and dicots. Okay. Mono means one, di means monocotyledon, dicotyledon. Monocots and dicots. That is flowering plants. Non-flowering plants we divide into two. Non-flowering seeded plants, non-flowering seedless plants. With seeds, without seeds. Non-flowering, but some non-flowering they have seeds. Some they don't have seeds. Okay, seeded seeds. So we have to take each of them separately with the definition, examples, everything. I told you, I just start. Okay. Kingdom Animalia, we divide into two. We divide them as invertebrates and vertebrates. Invertebrates. What is this bird? Coelenterata. Coelenterata. Okay, that is not Soilenterata. O is silent. O is silent. Some words are there like not Soilenterata. Coelenterata. Shaheen, what is this word? Coelenterata. Yeah, or else another word we give. Nidaria. Okay, wait. I'm coming. Nidaria, Nidaria, Nidaria. I told you different pronunciations are there for the same word. Okay. If someone is saying, I'm saying no, Nidaria is only correct word, means I'm wrong. Because some other ways also we can pronounce. So that I'm giving all the pronunciations. Okay. I might use one, but there are some other ways also. If a person says that no, that is the only way, he's wrong. Definitely. You just go to the Google and say everything you can learn from Google. Okay. Some of the clarifications I'm giving. Just Google, go to Google and see the pronunciation of these words. You can see different countries, they pronounce in different ways. Different videos are there only for the pronunciations. Okay? Listen. Now, Nidaria, Nidaria, Nidarius. Commonly seal under A. Second one, Annelida. Annelida? Annelida. Annelida. Okay? Annelida. Okay? Seal under A, Annelida. Mollusca. What ka? Mollusca. Mollusca. Right? Arthropoda. 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 Yeah. Not arthropoda, ma. Arthropoda. Arthropoda. Right. Okay. Okay, listen. What is the next one? Read this. Nice right. Listen. It is not echinodermata. 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 Or we say echinodermata. What are the words? Echinodermata. Echinodermata. Don't say echinodermata. Okay. Echinodermata or echinodermata. Echinodermata. That is how the pronunciation comes. That is how the spelling comes. We don't want to worry about that. Okay. Right. So these are the 5 types of invertebrates. 5 types of invertebrates. Vertebrates when you take. Piscus. What cus? Piscus, not piscus. Okay, piscus. Or we say piscates, but not piscates. Okay, but not a piscates like you. Piscates. Piscates. Right. Right, look at this. Piscus, amphibia, reptilia, apes. Or another word is there called aves. What means? Aves. Okay, ave. Okay, apes. But most people pronounce it as apes. Okay. And next one, mammalia. But mammalia. Okay, mammalia. Mammalia means in single it is a different meaning. Okay. Mammalia. Just find it. Okay. Mammalia. Right. Not a wrong word. It's really different meaning. Okay. So I say these are the types, guys. These are the types of organisms we are supposed to learn in our class. Okay. So this is the whole classification to be written in that page number 6. You can either take it portrait or landscape. Which is good for you, you can decide. I prefer to do it like this. It is easy. Landscape when you are taking, because I have given the landscape here, right? So you can mark it down quick. Alright. No, that is the mind map. You have to do this. Do it. I'm the one to give that. I know that. That's there. If you have 5 minutes, going to finish it. Hurry up, please. Hurry up, please. Video or sign? So meanwhile, you are doing this. Listen. We had a seminar and some of the questions we couldn't do because of some issues, and I thought we will be having it. And we had it in the last Sunday. Last Sunday as the second session online we had it. Okay. So those who joined and those who didn't join the first, I asked them to join as well as a group. Only few of them joined and I have shared the recording. But the recording will be deleted by tomorrow. Right? So please go through that. You have to go up with the questions. Okay. And also these days we are uploading with some additional videos as well for you to revise. Okay. For you to go through with that as an additional support for your reference. So going through on it's up to you. Okay. I told you right. All additional stuff they are doing to keep you in touch with the lesson and to excel your marks. Right. Now exams finished, no need to learn. Okay. Again you are starting to learn when your third term exam is ready. It won't work out like that. Okay. You have to take the practice all what you have learned and go ahead with the new theories. And remember the next theory is going to be hard, right? Okay. So keep updated with the previous theories. Otherwise the third term is going to be hard. And this month, 13th and 14th, both the chapters are going to come up. 14th chapter usually we do as a seminar. Okay, we do it as a seminar, right? 14th chapter, but it is it's a lesson seminar for the grade 10. Okay, it's totally free for grade 10 students, my class students. Okay, but it will be done separately, probably on a Sunday. Okay. Probably on a Sunday only it will be done. Okay, it will be taking almost about 5 to 6 hours, right? For the whole lesson to be done, right? Now the thing is, this lesson cannot be done within 1 or 2 hours. Okay. If a person is doing within 1 or 2 hours, this seminar means it's not a complete lesson. Remember that. This has to be done minimum 5 to 6 hours needed for this chapter. That's what I'm speaking specially about your school. I'm speaking specially about your school because I heard that some of your school within 1 hour they are saying 45 minutes they have done the chapter. Cannot be done. Okay. All the theories to be done, even 5-6 hours not sufficient, completely to be done. Okay. So because more than 6 hours we cannot take the risk. Okay. So 5 to 6 hours we will be taking on a Sunday inshallah from the morning. And moreover, listen. 14th chapter when I am having, definitely you have to be present. You have to be present on that day. Huge recordings will not be given up. Now it's what I'm saying. Not for any reason I am giving that. On that particular day you have to come, and that is a very important lesson in your exams. Third term definitely 1 or 2 questions will be there. By the word it comes, you will be eager to learn, but when you are coming for the chapter only, you can see how much theories you have learned. Reproduction, you are saying, I'm going to learn reproduction. Come and see how much theories you have to learn. Okay. How much theories are there? Totally it is a mess of the lesson. Okay. Step by step, you have to. That is what I am doing. Right. So it probably might be whatever the last 3rd week or 4th week of Sunday. Maybe the 3rd or 4th week of Sunday. No, not the 3rd week. Actually 4th or the 5th week, not this week. 4th week or 5th week. Maybe 22nd or 29th. No, we'll see. Maybe 22nd or 29th Sunday we are having. I will. No, I will figure it. I will check it with the all available and all. I have to check it. 32nd. No, 33rd. Are you done? Finished? Wait. Fine. So please keep on revising now. Okay, please keep on revising. Don't forget the previous chapters. Okay, all those things are new chapters you have learned. Are you ending up then? You got haven't done yet, can you take a photo? One-liners, if you haven't done yet, take a photo. Take a screenshot. I'm going to end up now. I'm going to end up now. Hurry up, please. We'll see. I'm right. I'm going to end up. Sorry? Yeah? Marks, yeah.